Well, chaps, here we go again. We're back talking about patterns. I wasn't planning on doing this as the next mood news. I didn't really want to do pattern after pattern. I wanted to talk about something a bit more exciting. I wanted to talk about Sonic, okay? Also, I wanted to talk about Jet for Hawk being back, right? That's the video I was planning, but no. We got some more news about the Switch 2. Let's get into it. So if you recall to the last episode of Mood News, we were talking about a Nintendo Switch patent, more specifically the one which allows the ability for the Joy-Cons to become mice in a weird sort of way. And that's really exciting. We sort of had that idea for a while, people were speculating that. We've been and gone with that, right? But this is a new one, which I don't think anyone was thinking of, and I don't think anyone really wanted, and even in sort of the recreations and the discussion around this feature, it seems like this is going to be one of those patterns which doesn't turn out to be in the final Switch product. Or maybe it does really, really long down the line, or it is in the Switch 2, and it's just completely bloody pointless, okay? So here's what it is. Nintendo has filed a patent for the Switch 2 that introduces a unique feature, allowing the console to be flipped upside down, enabled by the new magnetic Joy-Cons. When doing so, the system automatically rotates the display 180 degrees when flipped, offering flexibility in port positioning, such as moving the headphone jack or USB-C port to the top or bottom base based on user preference, okay? That's sort of like the rundown of what this is, okay? Now, I have a question. Why? Okay, so let's go over the pros and cons and figure out if this is even worth having as a feature. So first, for pros, okay, so you have improved port accessibility. That seems nice because, you know, you might have headphones which are really clunky. Instead of having the wire come all the way on top, you can have it on the bottom, I guess. That's sort of great. In terms of charging, we already have the USB-C on the top and bottom now, but they're in weird positions. So, like, it might actually be confusing. This doesn't really sound like a pro, but I guess it is, where you can have the USB-C ports, like, flipped over. I guess that's great, or maybe there's a certain peripheral, like, I don't know, like a camera feature, or like a dual screen, like another pattern which Nintendo had last year about like having an attachable second screen, similar to a DS. Maybe that has potential in terms of having like the main Switch console be the top screen of a bottom screen, if I do that with a Switch 2, but that's like high pie in the sky, and if this is like a built-in feature to start with, it doesn't really make much sense in terms of that. The only other way I could see is that getting the Joy-Cons correctly on is never an issue, because currently, right, with a Switch 1, I think we talked about this, whenever you slide the Joy-Con rails on, they are at a very high risk of breaking if someone doesn't know what they're doing putting them on. So this is almost like a child-proof system in a way, where, oh, it doesn't matter if a Switch is flipped upside down, you can snap in the Joy-Cons no matter what, okay? Like, it will just work seamlessly, and that's how it is. Right Joy-Cons, left Joy-Cons, it doesn't matter, each one can go in whichever port you want. Okay, so that sounds cool, that sounds like a good idea, I think, but let's get into it a bit more. Because if you can't already tell on my voice, the first con is that this is very confusing. This is very Joy-confusing, guys. I'm really sort of not upset. I'm not upset at this at all. It's just a little funny little bit of speculation. But I am bloody confused because, first off, even though this is designed almost as a child safety, I feel like a lot of people are still going to make more mistakes, specifically with docking the console now, where it doesn't matter if it's upside down or right way round or whatever you're doing, you just think it's the Switch, you plop it into the dock, and then wait, it doesn't fit. What the hell? Wait, why isn't it going in properly? It means, oh, wait, it's the wrong way around. You try pulling it up, and then you have to flip it up upside down, and it's all a bit bloody confusing. And also, when you do put it the right way around, you'll just have Joy-Cons upside down in your dock, which is kind of silly. It'd be kind of cool, actually, maybe. Who knows? But I imagine for someone who is used to seeing the iconography of a Nintendo Switch, you go around your mate's house, and you see that their Joy-Cons are upside down on their console. That's going to make you concerned, okay? That's not going to make someone think, oh, yeah, that's how the Switch is, right? You'd be like, wait a second, why is it upside down? So that's already like the sort of confusing matter of the way the docking system would be. Really doesn't make that much sense. But that's not the only like Switch mechanic which I think could be a bit difficult with this, because there's also the kickstand, where the kickstand will obviously only work when it's the right way around. And so if you have your Joy-Cons and you're playing like, I guess, upside down for a while, if you're like, oh wait, let me kick it back, you'll try grabbing it with your thumb, notice there's nothing there, and maybe you'll even like have like sort of like, I don't know, muscle memory of doing it, and then it hits the ground, it goes flying, it falls on the floor, it breaks, right? oh, crap. That wasn't a very good choice. Another concern would also be the tech not acting correctly, because I'm not sure if you guys have this with your phones, but I absolutely hate auto-rotation, or at least I did. I don't know, it's a little bit better now, but I remember there being several moments where my phone just keeps bloody rotating, and it was very annoying. I probably had like a gyroscope broken or something, and potentially that could happen with this, but at the same time, a countermeasure could be that it just sees which way round the Joy-Cons are, and if they're upside down, then it automatically rotates the camera to be that way, and vice versa. Like, that makes more sense maybe, but if it doesn't have that, and it's based on like some other piece of hardware, is that going to make the console more expensive? Does this seem like a good use of resources to put and invest into the hardware of this console? Does that make sense? I don't know. I'm not really seeing the long-term plan with this. I do see a little bit in terms of a child safety stuff. Like, that's the best thing I could see in terms of having the system where it's just like anyone who doesn't know how to use the console is less likely to break the system, which I think is like the biggest issue with the Switch 1. Is just it's very easy to break it. You know, we had Joy-Con drift, that's one thing, but I just have like Joy-Con break. Like, no one talks about that shit. Like, the controllers just break a lot, where like obviously they might start drifting, but I've had several issues where they won't connect. There's an issue with a connector, other buttons won't work properly, they just get worn down a lot. So if Nintendo are very, very, very hyper aware of this, and they're putting more energy and effort into making sure that things are very unbreakable, I think this is a very good choice of decision making and going forward with helping out with that. But the issue with it is that you're almost creating more issues, maybe smaller issues, but more like frustrating issues in the midst of it, because obviously I said like with the dock issue seems like the biggest one, but on top of that, also just like, this is definitely not that big of a deal, but I think like the aesthetic idea of the Joy-Cons being upside down, or even like with the colored interiors of the main brick console, which I really like. I think it adds personality to the Switch, because the Switch 1 is really sort of lame with the main little actual console tablet of it. It looks like a very generic tablet, so having like the little accented colors on the system itself is really nice. But if it's upside down and the colors don't match, shit. Well, that's not very great. And also, it's like, what if the Joy-Con controllers being connected magnetically makes it so you can't make them go upside down? Like, that rule is just out if this is the case, because we had the initial idea. Maybe you guys haven't seen this, but I did a video about 100 different little secrets and stuff, which I noticed after watching the Switch 2 trailer 100 times on my main channel. You can check that out. But one point which I talked about was that the magnetic controllers, right? A lot of people put the Joy-Cons upside down already on the Switch 1, which they're not supposed to do, but they do it by mistake. And when you do that, it's very hard to get them off. You know, if they get stuck, it's very easy to do. With the magnets, you can use negative and positive magnets to make it so Joy-Cons can only go in one way. But obviously, if they have this, where you can rotate the console upside down, what is the point of that feature? They won't be able to use the magnets, and you won't be able to get the controllers on properly. You'd have to be like, oh, okay, this one only works upside down on this side. You know, it just gets a bit confusing. Or maybe I'm insane. Maybe it's a case of like, that's still the feature, but it's for the left Joy-Con and the right Joy-Con. And so like, the right Joy-Con will actually work on the left side if it's upside down. Wait, actually, maybe Nintendo thought about that and they were actually very clever. Actually, yeah. Wait, this is kind of a cool feature. No, it's not. It's not that cool. It's just a bit random, I have to say. But yeah, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that this has any gameplay potential? Like, that's the only thing which I kind of want, right? It's like, oh, maybe there's a game where you take up the console and you flip it upside down, and then the world changes to like a dark world or something. Maybe that's going to be the next Zelda game. Can't say it's the most exciting, you know, way of playing. It's like, oh, what are we going to do? Let's turn the console upside down. Yeah, it's a little strange, but overall, this is another way, or like another reason for the console being called Switch, because it's like you have Nintendo Switch in terms of just swapping between the dock and, you know, the handhelds, but now you have it so you can flip it upside down and switch to the other side. They seem to be really playing on the idea of the word Switch. So even if this is a completely pointless feature, but it just exists because of that, in terms of giving more reasons to make it as versatile as possible, I can see it making sense. But yeah, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to get more mood news whenever I try, really. I want to do daily, but it's quite hard to do daily videos, guys. It's a little stressy, I will say, but I'm trying my best. I want to do daily videos on here, but yeah, support mood news if you can, and I'll see you guys when there's more news. Have a great day.